What's up, everybody? This is Tim, and I am so excited about this video. We're going to be talking all things Cardano. You guys have heard Jeb and I talk a whole lot about it. It's one of our favorite projects, but I wanted to bring someone on who does probably a little bit even more than we do. He's been studying this for a while. It's our good friend Dan from Crypto Venture Capital. Dan, how are you doing today?
I am doing good. How are you, Tim?
Dude, I'm excited. You guys know, I've been going back and forth with Dan on Twitter for a while. I wanted him to come on a week ago, but I've been looking forward to this interview now for 2 weeks. So I am doing very good. Very excited. This actually, I think this will be my first one on YouTube. That's actually my interview. So yeah, you're my first.
I'm your first interview. I did not realize that.
Yeah. Okay. I feel like I though have done things in the past that have led me to this moment. I think I'm going to do okay. I don't think I'm technically a noob at the, YouTube interviews, but I've done interviews before. So I think I'll be able to handle it.
You know what it is, man? It's just a conversation, right?
Exactly.
And that's what makes it so beautiful, especially in the crypto space, because there's so much to talk about.
Well, I want this to be as focused. I want to, just kind of, in case people haven't ever seen you before, want to get a little more info about you, but we're really just going to dig in. We're going to talk about Cardano, all things Cardano's video. We're not going to go too far. I mean, if the conversation gets us somewhere else, we'll go there. But I really, along with everyone who's watched this video, want to learn from you and hear what you think about what's happening in Cardano, because it's exciting. I think right now, maybe not when people are watching this video, but as it is right now, Cardano's sitting there getting really close to 120. I'm going to look up my phone just to make sure. But yeah, it's sitting at 118 at the moment. And who knows, by the time people are watching this video, maybe it's at like 125, 130. You never know.
That's the thing, man. Like right now, and Cardano does this, it just goes when it goes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it just sleeps when it sleeps. And, the sleeping phases, the sleeping stages, it's a lot of times when we see the negativity on Cardano, and you can just see it on the charts too, like those sleeping seasons. And it's just for me when I'm, and you too, I'm sure now you've looked at the charts for a while on Cardano, it's just become normal that, those seasons of just Cardano kind of resetting. But when Cardano goes, it goes. And it's just stepping stones on the macro charts. I love it.
Well, I talked about that a couple of weeks ago. I was looking at the charts and I'm just like, I even remember, because I've now been in for about 2 years, not as long as Jeb. Or how long, out of curiosity, because I don't even know, how long have you been in crypto now?
I got heavily involved probably 2017.
Okay, yeah. So, that year, I feel like a lot of people got involved. There was something special about 2017, right before that nice little bull run. But so I've been in now for 2 years. But doing back analysis, looking at the chart, I'm just like, I like vividly remember the sentiment, what was going on, and Cardano obviously exploded in their early 2020, or not early 2020, early 2021, alongside the same as Bitcoin and everything else. But I remember watching it go so parabolic, and then coming back down and just hearing the rumors, just like every other crypto gets. Oh, Cardano's dead. It's just a hype project. It's just a pump and dump. It's a community thing. They don't even deliver anything they promise. And then, of course, we had that nice rally, went up all the way over $3, and everyone's all hype. And then it was started to come back down again. And that's what we're in right now. And people are like, Cardano's dead. And it's just like, I'm like watching, I'm like, no, this is like what we get used to. And like you said, it pumps when it wants to pump in weird moments. And then it dives and it's sitting. It's just even right now, I told people, someone asked me the other day, Tim, why did Cardano have this nice rally the last couple of days? I was like, well, the truth is, this has been long overdue. Like, you're looking at the charts, we've had daily bullish RSI divergence, which to me is like one of my favorite reversal indicators on technical analysis. Like, we've had that now for like 2 months almost. So it was kind of like I've been sitting here for 2 months saying, any moment now. And it seems like that moment's finally come.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's so funny reading through comments, and so many people have different opinions on why things happen. And it's like literally the most simple thing. And you're talking about one of my favorite momentum oscillators as well, the RSI. And it's just like when it gets oversold, like on the weekly, the monthly charts, and I'm not just talking about Cardano, it's just any crypto. It's not a guarantee, but like historically, like it seems like 100% of the time, it's going to turn around. And like, so people are looking for a reason why. And it's just, at the end of the day, I always say it's just because this is what cryptos do, right? They all do it differently, but this is what they do when they're oversold and they're kind of looking like they're dead. They just wake up out of nowhere. And like, that's what makes crypto just such an insane opportunity, because it kind of is right in front of us on the charts, right?
Yeah.
If we can just be patient.
Yeah. And I think that's something that's really cool. And I want to ask you about that. Like, Cardano, other projects have these massive, drops and then fall. I think Cardano officially, I could be wrong on the exact number, but it's something like down from all-time high when we hit that bottom around 78 cents. It was I think 75% down or something close to that. Other projects will do the same thing. And they'll say things like, no, we're just working on stuff, but we want to do it right. And they're just buying time because they're not working. What to you, because Jeb and I have talked about our opinion on the show. What is your opinion about why Cardano is just so different in the fact of, even as we're looking at its price being down 75% from all-time high, we were able to keep our confidence that this is still a solid project?
So a couple points to that. Number one, and I talked about this in a video the other day, actually, is Cardano moves more volatile to the downside against something like Bitcoin and other cryptos even. But it moves more volatile and extreme to the upside too. That COVID swing low to the all-time high Cardano saw, I think it was, like 17,000 or 18,000% gains or something like that.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
And
yeah.
Bitcoin was like, I don't know, 1,800% or something like that.
Yeah.
So we have to anticipate to the downside. It's going to be just as extreme and volatile. What sets Cardano apart for me is it's multi-layered. Number one, it is early stage. So you look at market share, it's a top 10 crypto, but the market share gap, from something like Ethereum, that is, also a smart contract platform, that gap in market share that Cardano, I think, is going to start eating into is wide open. Number two, the fact that it's an underdog, and most people think it's not going to happen. Cardano's not going to achieve this because of, usually the argument is a technical argument. That is what gives me the most confidence, because if you look into Cardano and how it's being built, over 100 research papers, scientifically backed, with this roadmap built via these eras that it's going through. From a technical perspective, it's probably the most sound plan in crypto. And it's crazy to see that most people out there that are against Cardano are basically saying it's the least sound plan in crypto. So just all of these things combined makes Cardano set up literally for just this parabolic growth, because from a fundamental perspective, it's going to grow because of these things. But then you start sprinkling in, the FOMO from not only retail, but institutional. And Cardano is going to, and that's when I think we're really going to start seeing Cardano start eating into the market share of Ethereum. And I compare it to Ethereum because it's just such an easy comparison. It's nothing negative against Ethereum. It's just Cardano is just doing it better in my opinion.
Yeah, no, that's something we talked about here before. It's just like, it's one of the things I loved when Charles even said it. I think he started buying out for other programs in the future. But when people were looking at Cardano move a little slower, because Ethereum was jumping on the smart contracts and making sure they were jumping in the NFT game, and all these other altcoins were jumping on too. And Cardano was kind of holding off. They were taking their time. And someone asked him about it, and he was kind of like, hey, when I do something, I want to do it the right way. And I'm going to move a little slower, but I guarantee you when I finally do it, it's going to be right. And I say that because, I think some other altcoins are going to start, they're going to learn from that plan. They're going to be like, oh, that's what when you don't know what you're doing, you say that you're going to do it right the first time. But in Charles' case, I fully believe he's going to. And that's what we're finally seeing happen, is we're finally seeing all the things that we've now, at least as long as I've been in for 2 years now, we've been seeing the promises of Cardano saying like, oh, it's going to do this. It's going to do this. It's going to be, highly functional. And then people saying, listen, they keep saying these things and nothing's happening. We're finally seeing that stuff happen. And to me, like, that is one of the biggest initial sparks for this rally. If people are asking why, like, why do we have the price finally actually moving up, and not just moving up at such a quick rate that it's splitting itself off from the traditional, like it usually follows Bitcoin. Now it's like, no, it's actually leading the charge. Do you agree with that sentiment, or what do you think? What else went into that spark that finally set us up now darn near close to 120?
Yeah, it's tempting to be like, especially tweeting about Cardano all day. It's just like, see, everybody, look at Cardano. It's, setting itself apart, as we say. But it's just, if we're being real about it, every crypto does this. Like, a couple of weeks ago, I think it was Luna, right? And so
it's true, yeah.
And then a couple of weeks before that, it was probably something else. So we can kind of cherry pick an altcoin that's just outperforming everything and say, oh man, something big is happening. But again, that's why I kind of divert back to, this is crypto. This is what crypto does. This is what altcoins like Cardano does. The difference about Cardano is this, and I think this is probably the most important thing. Cardano is extremely undervalued. And it's evident because we can actually use Luna for an example. So Luna in total value locked right now is like number 2. It's right behind Ethereum, right? Yeah. So it had this massive pump a couple of weeks ago, whenever it was. It actually overtook Cardano in market cap, and it's sitting up there, number 2 on total value locked. And a couple of weeks later now, Cardano it overtook Luna in market cap, but Cardano is just getting started in regards to the DeFi space and total value locked. I mean, it's just broke like 400 million.
No, that's another thing Jeb was mentioning, because he follows all those things. He's like, in less than 1 month, it's up 200%. And it's just parabolic.
So think about that though. Think about that. So Luna, 27 billion with a B, total value locked. Cardano with 400 million total value locked, but Cardano is already ahead in market cap. Yes. So imagine when Cardano's $1 billion total value locked, 10 billion total value locked. You know, it's going to explode in terms of market cap and price. There's no guarantees. This is, again, I have to highlight that that's my opinion.
Yeah. And that, I also think, even kind of thinking about, I think that's also really good. Like, that's one of the things I love about you and your channel when I get to watch you. And I feel like it's where we're kind of similar, is stressing to people, hey, this is opinions. And it doesn't mean that we don't have a reason to have those opinions. But I think what's so cool about this space is the potential for people to finally voice opinions and be able to get in and have actual debates and differing opinions that hopefully is done with as much respect as possible. But speaking of opinions and respect, and you mentioned your Twitter, how has it been? Because you've been holding the fort down. Like, I don't think a day goes by I don't see a tweet from you about Cardano. And there are days where I'm sure it's tempting to be like, do I want to tweet today about Cardano and get the backlash? But how have you held up on that end?
It's fun to me because, again, I'm just the type of person, I like underdogs. I have literally the word persevere on the back of my leg tattooed. I have the definition of perseverance tattooed on my ribs. And Cardano is that, you know what I'm saying? And what makes me ultra confident when I'm tweeting or doing videos about Cardano, even with the haters, the low engagement, is I genuinely think that I'm going to be so right about this play. Like, I think like a year ago, whether it's today, Cardano is the best play in crypto. And that brings along everything else built on Cardano too, and the entire ecosystem, the other projects that are built on Cardano. So I'm just confident. Like, I'm very confident that it's going to play out really well. So that's why I'm kind of committed to it.
With everything, because I completely agree with what you're saying. We talked on the show the other day. Jeb asked me, like, why do you think Cardano is so good? And I said, it really starts with why. Like, one of the reasons I love them so much is their why, like what the whole mission and vision of what Cardano is trying to accomplish. But diving into that, because obviously it's not just about Cardano, it's about what goes on there. Just out of curiosity, what's like one of your favorite, whether it's projects or dApps or smart contracts or whatever, what's your favorite project being worked on Cardano?
I have multiple, right?
Okay.
One of the ones that you just talked about the why, and I saw that the other day when, I think it was maybe yesterday.
I think it was yesterday. People watching this probably are saying 2 days ago, but yeah.
Yeah. World Mobile. I mean, they're right off the top of my head. It's just kind of that mission of connecting the unconnected. Yeah. And actually, I was having a conversation with a new startup that reached out to me on LinkedIn about what they're trying to do, and they have a similar vision in connecting the unconnected, going to these remote places in the world and like bringing blockchain there. There's not a lot of incentive, right, for startups and companies to be doing things like that. So when you have someone or a company like World Mobile doing it, with their mesh network that they're building, their aerostats, these balloons that they're just floating around in the air over there to provide internet. I love that real world use case. And I just love that it's being done in a way that's going to literally change people's lives. You know what I'm saying? So that's a really cool project to keep an eye on as they continue to build.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the cool things about Cardano as well. And I think that the space as a whole, the crypto space, sometimes loses track of that. And I want to make sure I'm giving people credit. There are massive amounts of community. I know even the crypto Jeb community, massive amount of guys I get to interact with, and they're all about real world use case and everything. But when I'm talking about the crypto space as a whole, it very much feels like sometimes people pay very little attention to what projects are actually doing to affect change in the world. And they're only looking at, well, what's the price? Like if I invested $1,000 US, what can I get in return from that in a trade? And it's like, no, like that's one of the cool things about Cardano and Charles. And I've said this on many videos, but it's one of my favorite things he's done is whenever he's asked about the price, he says, don't ask me about the price. I don't care. Like, that's not what I'm doing this for. I'm doing this so that the world actually has a change. And what's funny is people look at it. I've heard people like criticize that and be like, oh, okay, I don't want to get into a project where the leader doesn't even care. I'm like, more often than not, if you're looking at the stock market, for example, the companies that make statements like that, like what, and I said his name wrong the other day, but Jeff Bezos, what he said, he did a similar thing with Amazon. His stock went down and people were like, hey, like, are you worried about your company? He said, at my company and the stock price, that's not a direct correlation. I know what I'm doing inside the company. I know what we're building. And anyone who had bought the stock that day he said that is a very wealthy person at this point. Yeah. Yep. But that's, that's what I love about Cardano. And you said, what was the name of the project you said you were looking at? I don't know if I have looked too much into it.
So that's World Mobile.
World Mobile. Cool. Yeah. Are there any other projects you're really fascinated with?
Sunday Swap. I've liked them since they came on the scene. I love their brand, right? When they just hit Twitter, like nobody knew much about them, but I liked how they rolled that out, their marketing. And then just as I got to know the team, they're just legit, right? And they're very cool. So I like Sunday Swap and Meld, their DeFi project. Genius Yield is another one. I just released a video about them today. They are really kind of changing the game in terms of DEXs, and they have this this AI that kind of algorithmically helps you form a yield farming strategy and different tools like that. So like they're kind of like getting into that next level of what they're building, and their release is going to be really exciting. So there's just so much, and all of these things they're going to bring that total value locked on Cardano up. There's so much innovation. There's too many, like I don't even know half of the projects that are building, right? It's just too many to even track right now.
I remember, I think, didn't Charles make a post about that here a little bit ago? He said, I predicted like thousands and he's like, I was wrong. It's actually now millions. And
it just hit like millions and millions of assets on. It's crazy to see the growth that has happened with Cardano. But I guess what makes it crazier is it's just getting started. So,
Exactly. And again, it's kind of cool because these other projects, they'll turn the lights on, not a lot's happening. I said it earlier, but I love that they're not just turning the lights on and saying, let's figure it out as we go. It's they've been working behind the scenes. It's not that they're finished. I'm sure their team is working harder than ever. But when these lights are coming on and everything starts to working, it's not just one thing that's working. It's explosive. Yeah. But I want to kind of transition now, as we look at the rest of the year, because again, we're just getting started with what Cardano is doing now. What are you most excited about the rest of this year? / is there something that you think is kind of underrated right now that people should be giving way more attention to in terms of what the future of Cardano, at least in 2022, holds?
So Jed, the stablecoin is a big one. That's going to really change, especially when it comes to, things like the DEXs that are being built on Cardano. I think the Jed Cardano algorithmic stablecoin is going to be a game changer. I think people are just waiting and maybe getting tired of waiting, but I know Cody. So Cody's actually another project. They're changing the payments game just in crypto, and they're the ones that are issuing the Jed stablecoin. So I think they're kind of in their final stages of. I think their last update was talking about they are just making sure that security is on lock and good to go, because it absolutely has to be.
Yes.
So that's why they're kind of haven't been in a rush just to get it out there, get it to market. But And we do want that, right? Like we want the Cardano stablecoin to be secure. That would be pretty good.
Yeah.
But
yes.
But that's a big one. So and then the other thing is in June, the hard fork, the Vasil hard fork that's coming up is probably the most exciting thing on, I guess we can call it, short to midterm roadmap for Cardano.
Yeah.
And
well, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, just in case people don't know, the Vasil hard fork is basically going to solve a lot of the scalability issues via pipelining for Cardano when that's released. And I think I saw it was Conrad. He's in the Cardano community. He has a stake pool, Blade pool, but I think I saw him tweet that it could allow Cardano to have up to like 85,000 transactions per second or something like that when implemented. I don't know if I took his comment out of context, but I'm pretty sure that's how I read it. So
that would be big. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like, you know, it's been waiting on Cardano to release its staking mechanism, right? And we had the Shelley hard fork, and it happened, and it worked, and it's I think the best staking mechanism in crypto. And then we had Goguen, right? We had Goguen come into play.
Yeah.
And smart contracts are here. Now we're waiting on a scalability fix or optimization or upgrade or whatever you want to call it. And all of these milestones, technical milestones Cardano's hitting, they keep hitting accurately. It works every time, right? So I have a lot of confidence in the Vasil hard fork. TPS is going to increase, and this is going to draw even more attention to Cardano.
Well, no, you answered that question perfectly, because I'd done some digging too on Vasil. I hadn't done as much as you had, so that's why I was going to ask you, because there were some things I wasn't sure of, but the scalability that would be huge.
Yeah.
And
so
again, we'll have to do more digging to that. But if Conrad's right, 85, you said 85,000.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to message him after this, be like, hey, listen, so I don't know what you meant by this.
Well, on a video from Crypto Jeb, Dan Venture Capital said that.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be on like CoinDesk tomorrow. Yeah. Oh man. So don't quote me on that, but I think I read that, and you know, and that's the thing. And I told you before, you know, I'm not the most technical person, so it's a lot to try and learn all of this stuff, and you know. A lot of the times it feels like I'm having a conversation, you know, because I run a recruiting firm as well, and we recruit mostly engineers. So it's like, you know, trying to keep up with these engineers and have a conversation and a dialogue with them. It's how I feel sometimes looking into Cardano. But, you know, so the Vasil hard fork is going to increase blocks, to put it simply, as non-technical as possible. And it's just going to, you know, it's going to allow for more throughput and more transactions. So, and that's obviously great for Cardano.
I mean, I'm in the same boat. Like, the truth is, I'm just behind you though. Is if you'd asked me 2 years ago, Tim, would you be making a living off of talking cryptocurrency? I would have said, what? I think I knew I don't know if I knew I knew Bitcoin existed. I don't know if I was really in with the lingo, but I'm very slowly learning the lingo. But it's like a different language. It really is, and so it's cool even talking with community. You know, who come from engineering backgrounds and computer backgrounds, they're just with it. They're like, oh yeah, this is, and I'm like, oh my god, like slow down.
Yep, that's crazy.
And I think that's why, even like on Crypto Jeb, maybe that's like why I have been accepted so much, as I am literally, I think the epitome of the everyday man. And it's like, hey, I am, it's not that I'm not intelligent, it's just, this is a completely different world. I want to learn, but you know, move slow with me. And I feel like I'm making some progress, but you know, got a long way to go. So even getting to hear you, who you don't think I'm like, well, no, I'm learning a lot just talking to you, and it gives me things, because there's been a couple things even on this video. I'm like, I need to go look more into that, because I don't know if I 100% knew what he was talking about. But yeah.
We're all learning.
Well, so you know, so your company, that you said you work a lot with engineers. What led you to that company, even to get into recruiting, and then how in that company? And maybe you've said this before, but I've never gotten to hear the story. What caused you to get so heavily invested into crypto? And then specifically, I know you're really big on Bitcoin and Cardano.
Yeah. So I had a recruiting firm prior. It wasn't Crypto Capital Venture. And I had a partner in that recruiting firm. And, you know, at the time we were doing like fintech, you know, we had like fintech clients, and he was like, I remember we were at a coffee shop. He's like, hey, what do you think about crypto? like getting crypto startups, and I was like, especially in 2017, that was pretty, when it comes to startups and stuff, it's pretty early stage.
Oh,
Like
absolutely.
for that.
But most people, I think back at that time, most people saw crypto as like a joke world. Yep. And it's like, oh, okay, like those computer guys over there, they play in it, but it's a fad. It's going to leave here soon. And
but there was a lot of, there was definitely a lot of pre-seed and seed funding. And, a lot of these startups were kind of getting some nice money, whether it was VC or ICOs or whatever. So we kind of pivoted into crypto, and towards the end of 2017, it did not go well with that partner.
Gotcha.
And I was like, it's time to do my own thing now anyway. So yeah, so I rebranded the recruiting firm, branched out on my own crypto capital venture. And it was funny because like confluent with that time, I was messing around on my couch and I was like, let's do a crypto YouTube video. I don't remember what it was. I think I deleted it after the fact, but it got like a lot of views. And I was like, there's something here on YouTube. Yeah. So I started kind of crypto capital venture recruiting at kind of the same time as crypto capital venture YouTube. And I can't really remember what was first, YouTube or recruiting, but that's kind of how it happened. And, now we recruit for crypto startups and some awesome companies, and it's been really cool.
Dude, that is really cool. What were you, so like, I've said it before on our channel, I grew up just nothing but sports. What did you think you were going to be when you grew up? Or did you know that you were going to be a recruiter and working crypto?
No, I mean, I wanted to play baseball. And then I hurt my arm in spring training in Florida in high school. So that was out.
Darn it.
And then from there, it was just kind of, I've always been the entrepreneurial type. And coming out of high school, I tried so many different things and failed at pretty much 95% of them for who knows how long,
Yeah.
And that's the story. And
exactly. Yeah.
It's kind of a message I want to integrate more into the things that I do, the content that I create, is just like failing is the most normal thing on the road to success. And I don't think I've ever read a story of some of the most successful people in the world that haven't failed a ton. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so, and that's just an encouragement to anybody out there that's maybe in the middle right now of failing. It's okay to fail. And this is why I got the tattoos of perseverance on my body, is because it's a reminder to literally just keep going, to continue a course of action in spite of opposition, difficulty, or discouragement, to remain steadfast. That's the definition of perseverance. So, and I think that mindset applies to crypto, right? Because we're early stage as a technology, and there's been a lot of different forces kind of up against crypto in general. So there's kind of a perseverance dynamic to the technology of cryptocurrency, if you think about it as well.
That's so good. I could not think of a sentence I would agree even more so. Like that concept, you just like, hey, some of the greatest things come out of life are the failures. And to be fair, if you're really wise, you learn from other people's failures. But it's still failure. Like it's some of the greatest things I've learned as a leader, because that ultimately the reason I'm here is not because of any crypto knowledge. Obviously, when I first started, I knew almost nothing. It was actually, Jeb asked me to come help lead the company. But one of the greatest things about what I learned in that is getting to watch leaders, and it's great to watch good leaders. It's great to watch how they do things successfully. And it's like, okay, that makes a lot of sense. But there are some principles that I've learned in leadership of watching bad leaders. So like watching other leaders fail. And then of course there's the, how did I do this? Okay, I failed. Okay, how do I learn from that? And Kelly on our channel, he said very much so, even if for anyone out there who was failed with a trade or failed with an investment, and they're really, by the way, I've heard stories that like would make my stomach sick, and let alone if that was some in my own wallet. But he talked about one of his trades, he lost like darn near close to 70,000. He learned, he's like, it's like a tuition, but what he's learned from that loss, that failure of a trade, has actually made him into who he is today, with being a successful trader and understanding how to navigate the crypto space. And it doesn't mean he's right about every little thing, but it's like he's gotten successful, to say the least. And so I think that's so cool. Do you have the definition of perseverance tattooed too, or that you just know the definition?
Yeah, well, the definition I read is what's on my ribs.
That's cool. That is cool. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I do have a question I have to ask you because it's very pertinent on our channel, but I think after Charles's tweet, it's very pertinent in the Cardano space. What is your view of pineapple pizza?
That's great. I absolutely love pineapples on pizza. No. I've never heard of pineapple pizza, but I'm a very, very big fan of Hawaiian pizza. If you don't want to post this video, it's all good. Delete it, trash it. It's fine.
It was going perfectly up to this point.
So actually, what's the gosh? Where did this come from? Where did this topic come from anyway?
I would like to think that somehow we got Charles on it. Our community, I don't even know how our community got on it. I mean, obviously it's a pretty popular debate, I think, even before it. But I remember one time we have someone, crypto set guy, he's probably even watching this, named Jeffrey. He gives me such a hard time because he's a Florida State fan and I'm a Virginia Tech fan that also living in Gainesville. I like the Gators as well. So I hate Florida State from two sides. He went on about it and it became this big deal to the point where he sent us a pizza to our office. Of pineapple pizza. They made me peer pressure, take a bite. And so when I saw the tweet from Charles that someone had sent him, I literally, I have a Discord with Jeffrey. I was like, is that you? Did you send that to Charles?
That's hilarious.
But it got sparked on our channel. Our community loves it. It lets us know who are the good people and the bad people are. But you failed.
I'm so sorry to disappoint, man. I'm so sorry.
Oh, man. Well, before we wrap this out, where can people find you? Because I know you're on YouTube. I know you're on Twitter, but is there anywhere else that people can follow you and find you and learn more? Because again, if you guys are watching this, Dan he's one of my, as a YouTuber, he's one of my favorite YouTubers. So please go follow him and make him part of your daily schedule.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, Twitter and YouTube, really, Crypto Capital Venture, look me up and, we'll grow together in this crazy space.
Yeah. All right, Dan. Well, it was a pleasure up until the end with the pineapple bit, but I'll see you again real soon. That's all I have for you guys in this video. We'll see you next time.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, you should definitely consider subscribing because we're trying to help you become financially free in these cryptocurrency markets. And also consider following us on Twitter @CryptoJeb for more updates on the price of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Peace.